All right, so with that being said, what we're going to do, we are going to go into a track from an artist out of Portland, Oregon. Her name is Teresa Topaz. This track is called Reset Me. That's also the name of her album. Now, if you want to check her out, and I don't mean check her out just because she is attractive, which she is, gentlemen and ladies, some ladies, all right? If you want to check her out, definitely go on YouTube, type in Teresa Topaz, Teresa Topaz, Topaz. And you could also go on PsychWord.com under the Indie Artist tab, and you can see and listen to one of her songs, Driving Me Crazy. All right, I'm definitely looking forward to getting her on the show, getting her on the line. I'm looking forward to interviewing her. So with that being said, you're listening to Psych Word Radio Show, home of introducing indie artists to the world, the most talented indie artists from around the world to the world. It works out perfect. Teresa Topaz out of Portland, Oregon. When we come back, we're going to have her on the line with us. All right, guys, Psych Word.
Hear me this day, so I can live my life the way it's supposed to be. Now I am grateful, found a way to reset me, to reset me, reset me. Yeah, yeah, oh. Frame of mind, your chains rattle again.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning back in the Psych Word Radio Show. That was Reset Me by artist Teresa Topaz. And on the line right now from Portland, Oregon, we have Teresa Topaz. Teresa, you there?
I am. Hi, Rob. How you doing today?
Hey, doing well, doing well. How you doing?
Doing great. Thanks so much for having me on your show.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, love the song Reset Me. And I mean, I hear the title of the song, and then I hear the song, and I'm like, it really could have a few different meanings. Tell me your version and what's behind the song Reset Me.
Reset Me was written, it's about the disconnections that we have in our society today. And when I was a kid, people were outside playing, people were very socially interactive. This is the kind of world that everyone's pretty much used to. And nowadays you walk down the street and you see everyone, their head is straight down at a screen. You go on the subway, everyone's staring at a screen. And we've lost this connection with our friends, our family, and our society that is very valuable. And it's something that it's not to be missed. So it's a song to tell people to wake up a little bit and to talk to the people that are sitting right next to you and engage in those conversations, engage in those relationships, because there's so much to life.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love that. I love the theme of that. Now, your album, Reset Me, now it's the same title as the song we just aired, Reset Me. I know I was talking to you off air, and listening to some of your songs, I know how much went into this album. Tell me about your album and the actual work that went into it, because I know you were wearing multiple hats in the recording and production of this album.
Very much so. The album was a total about a year and a half of the making. When it started, prior to that, I was in the San Francisco Bay Area, and I was a solo artist, just made an acoustic with that album in my head. And trying to put a band together was very difficult. So it took, after about a year of trying to do that, I just set out to do it, just do it myself. If it was that difficult, then I was going to find a way to be able to make this happen. And a dear friend of mine introduced me to my engineer and also co-producer, Tim Vedran. We met up to discuss this project, and initially it was supposed to be a demo that turned into the full album. We just hit it off. Things worked. We did pull in a very talented young man, Mr. Keith Waters, who plays bass on the entire album.
Wow.
But other than that, who's a phenomenal bass player. But other than Keith, three of us, I literally just started doing all the different separate parts myself. So, it was so much fun sitting down and literally writing on the spot and being able to create this album. And it's just something that I've wanted since I was a kid. And music's always been in my life. So I finally was able to achieve my first LP. And, our release date was August 16th, and it's getting a lot of attention, and I'm very, very proud of what we've been able to accomplish.
Absolutely. And I love to hear that, because we've interviewed bands, we've interviewed solo artists, and I can't even imagine the dysfunction that comes along with really trying to put together a band and stay together. And it's no wonder why so many bands break up. And then here you come along, an artist like you that has so much talent, and you say, you know what, I just have it in my head, I have it in my heart, I need to make this album. I don't care if I have to do pretty much everything.
Yep, pretty much. That was it when you're composing, performing, and producing your own album. But, I'm grateful for that. And there's just, it's really tapping within yourself. Everybody has that capability. And it's just listening to yourself. And you see, you're right. Through the years, some of my favorite bands of all time, including Led Zeppelin, they break up because of problems or down the line. And just, if you have the ability to stay together, more power to you, because you've got a marriage of anywhere from 3 to 5 to 12 people that are going on the road. So it's challenging. So getting creative with being able to how to do it yourself is definitely a task, but I'm very grateful, and I'm very proud of what we've done.
Absolutely. Now, tell me, Portland, Oregon, what's the music scene like out there? Because honestly, I imagine it being kind of happening. But tell me.
It really kind of is. That's why we moved here. Earlier this year. The music scene here is just, people welcome music. They are just with open arms. When I was driving down a very hip street called Hawthorne in local Portland, a lot of the venues are located there. I mean, you just see people walking down the street with 212s and Gibson cases, girls, men. And I'm like, I'm home. This is where I belong. It's just thriving up here. It really is. It's becoming the music mecca of the West Coast.
Absolutely. Now, where were you originally born and raised?
Originally, I am from Los Angeles, California. City of Angels.
Ah, the City of Angels. and you know what? You and I, something that's funny is you and I were actually talking before, and we were both talking about, the idea of, networking and putting your phone number out there. And you had told me that you had a few male fans, if that's what you want to call them. And you said you actually had to stop putting your number on business cards as you were making your rounds because people thought, some of the men thought maybe you were quote unquote making your rounds.
Apparently, yeah. I've learned, you learned your lesson somehow. And when I was in San Francisco, I was putting my phone number thinking it would be easier to contact that way, and ended up with people breathing and making odd noises in my phone every day. So I eventually had to change my number. And I learned my lesson. It was very discreet with what type of information you give.
Wow, I bet, man, I bet. And I have a question too. I'm wondering because and I mentioned it before we started the interview when I was introducing your song. You are a very attractive female. And what is there a downside to being an attractive female and wanting to and deservingly so wanting to be taken seriously as an artist?
You know what? Actually, it is. You kind of hit the nail on the head with that. It's really funny because when I walk into gigs, people assume that I'm, oh, she's going to sing Kumbaya. How cute. And then I get up on stage with my Les Paul and my Martin, and they're like, uh-oh. I guess not. People at first glance, they have a tendency to make judgments. We all do. We make assumptions. And I guess it kind of plays into the factor of it. I've almost turned it into wanting to mess with people, just getting up and pretending to sing like soft love songs, and then go into my hard rock songs just for fun. But people are always going to make an assumption in the very beginning until you prove them wrong or prove them right. So it's interesting to see the different assessments that I have gotten over the years. But it's always fun giving the shock value. That does it for me.
I bet. And then as soon as you really start to rock out, I'm sure men are super intimidated. They're like, oh, I'm not even. Like, you know what? Out of my league.
Right. Well, as long as I can get people rushing the stage, dancing around, getting people moving, that's why I'm a musician, is just to reach people and to inspire people. So, as long as they're there, whether they're intimidated or not, as long as they're enjoying the music at the end of the day, that's what does it for me.
Absolutely. Now, let me ask you, because usually I ask someone, where do you see yourself 5 years from now in music? But I'm curious, I'm going to switch this up a little. If there were any teenage girls looking up to you, because I know there are, what message would you have for the teenage girls that say, hey, I kind of want to get into rock and roll the way that Teresa is?
Drive. Do the best you can every day. Every day learn something new. Every day take a step towards that goal, and don't ever give it up. Don't let anyone ever tell you that what you're doing is wrong. I don't care if it's family. I don't care if it's friends. My family's been insanely supportive of me, and I'm very grateful for that because that's rare as an artist. But I've had friends that, think it's a pipe dream or whatnot, and as long as you stay true to who you are and what you believe in and keep looking every day for inspiration, you'll get there.
Absolutely. Great advice, Teresa. Thank you. Now, if any of our listeners want to reach out to you, maybe want to hear more music or just get to know who you are, how can they reach out to you on social media?
Best and easiest way is my website. It's TeresaTopaz.com. I'm on every social media platform, and there are links to all of them through the website: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Pinterest as well. So the easiest way is just Google me.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, Teresa Topaz, thank you very much for coming on Psych Word Radio Show. It was a pleasure having you on, a pleasure interviewing you and getting to know you a little bit more. We definitely look forward to hearing more music from you.
Awesome. Well, Rob, thank you so much for taking the time to have me on your show today. I truly appreciate it. And thanks to all the listeners for taking a moment to tune in.
Absolutely. Teresa Topaz, what a great, great woman. She's inspirational. And she's a great example, I think, of a strong, independent woman that, and especially rock and roll being a man's world, her stepping up and saying, you know what? No. It's not necessarily a man's world. And just her sound and how nice and polished that sound is. And there aren't many guys that can come with better rock and roll than that. That's just my opinion. I'm throwing that out there. So definitely big shout out to Teresa Topaz. And like I said, if you want to check out her song Driving Me Crazy, go to psychword.com. You could check that out as well. It's under the indie artist tabs. And we'll definitely be playing Reset Me more. It is in rotation here on Psych Word. So definitely be on the lookout for that. So I wanted to continue to talk about this list, all right? I want to talk about top 5 ways